Morning was being overtaken by a hazy and dull sun that drenched Jan's jumpsuit in sweat over half an hour ago. The smell of refuse and decay would have made Stan and his partner Philip cringe had they not been immune to it, as the seasoned garbage men they were. The everyday smell of the city's air pollution wouldn't have been much of a step up anyway. Stan pondered that for a moment, trying to remember if the smell of garbage ever bothered him. Even as a new worker so many years ago, he couldn't recall ever being the least bit repulsed by the varying season-sensitive smell of trash. I guess there's a calling for everyone, even chumps with iron nostrils, Stan thought with a bit of self-disdain. Shaking off the reverie, he thought of his other daily ritual, getting back to the plant in an hour, clocking out, searching for the elusive answers to life's problems at the bottom of a whiskey glass later. Life had been having its way with him lately, and the stack of bills piling up next to his refrigerator at home was testament to that. His wife Lydia was little help since she had been laid off from work months ago. Stan had been supportive of her, assuring her daily that things would turn around. As it turns out, he didn't even manage to get her an interview at the waste management facility as a receptionist. She turned down the offer with a light kiss on Stan's cheeks, saying she appreciated it, but she wanted to take some time off to soul search for another career choice. The product of that soul searching were the soulless piles of bills on the counter at home. He gripped the bar tighter and adjusted his feet as the truck swung around the second to last block on the morning route on the very street where Stan called home. He didn't even have to think about this simple action of physical adjustment as he glanced at the spot in front of him that Phil usually occupied. Phil wasn't feeling well yesterday. He wasn't able to help at work today. Stan didn't mind working solo. In fact, some days he preferred it. Today happened to be one of those days. Mike, the truck driver, pulled up to a stop on the first section of the road that Stan had to collect from. The apartment buildings that Stan lived in were unspectacular, if not approaching the point of dilapidation. Cigarette butts littered the sidewalk and made semi-permanent residence in many of the cracks in the ill-maintained walkways. Yoran streaked the wall in a ghost shape near one of the exits to the building's opposite Stan's. He only really noticed this peculiarity because it was near the first pickup on his street. He hopped off and quickly made his way to the pile by the side of the truck. He always wondered how the people that shared his complex could generate so much garbage in a week. The buildings only housed 4 apartments each, there being only 4 buildings in total set adjacent and across from each other. Out of all of them, Stan seemed to make the least amount of trash every week. He glanced over across the street at his 2 trash cans, neatly side by side, waiting his heaving arms. He didn't find it strange that he took pride in how his trash cans looked compared to the slobs who left the seat in front of him. Stan took pride in his professional work. Why not show some that pride by placing the garbage he made, even if no one noticed? He moved to the first of many bags on this street, even noticing some French brochures that must have been left by a traveling neighbor, and threw it into the back of the truck. One bag had the audacity to rip at the bottom from his effort, leaving what must have been the contents of someone's bathroom littered across the street. Another bag burst open in the back of the truck, more French-looking paper, its contents being weeks old. Finished with his neighbor's refuse and made his way across his complex's garbage. He began with the neighbors secretly relishing saving his own garbage for last. This had been the way he'd always done it. Phil gave him shit about that, wondering what type of obsessive-compulsive behavior triggered this weekly ritual. Stan laughed it off with a shrug. Let him wonder. He finished hauling the emptied neighbor's contents back across the street from the truck, and walked up to the toters left by him the night before. Grabbing the first, he wheeled dutifully to the back of the truck and heaved the contents into the back. No bags ripped. Nothing that should have been in any of the bags strayed into the truck's interior. Even the very bottom of the can, where time seemed to create a black residue of scum for other people's trash receptacles, was clean. Wished everyone could have been as tidy with their undesirables as he was. He turned the first trash can, then began wheeling the second one over. Getting to the back of the truck, he gently heaved the contents into the back of the compactor, then set the empty can on the ground. He quickly pressed the yellow button and began the crushing process of all the garbage he just put in. He looked at how well his tightly bagged contents compared to the ripped, careless bags and debris his neighbors had left for him. Even the fluids from Lydia's body hardly marred the truck's filthy interior. After he had driven the screwdriver into the back of her head, he made sure to individually wrap her limbs, torso, and head 3 times with heavy plastic wrap, before stuffing her into an industrial-strength waste bag. Nothing but the finest for that condescending, lazy little bitch. He was also impressed at how the black residual scum that lined the interior of the truck didn't seem to show any signs of Phil's blood anywhere, since Stan pushed him in before their first stop. 10 whole stops already, and all Stan could make out was part of Phil's scalp stuck to one of the compactor's teeth. One of Phil's exposed arms suddenly jutted out from the filth, making a slow, fracturing sound as the compactor did its work. Then the limb bent over to rest up upon the bag where Lydia's remains were. How fitting, Stan thought, remembering the text he discovered on Lydia's phone last night between her and Phil. He smiled and knew this day's whiskey intake might warrant a day off tomorrow. He turned his empty can to his place by its silent partner, hopped on the truck, and signaled to Mike to go to the next pickup spot. He looked at the garbage cans of the next group of apartment complexes next to his own, remembering how much he hated all the noise those 2 college girls used to make at 3 in the morning. He licked his lips, walked to the curb, and wheeled the large and heavy garbage cans to the back of the truck.